Welcome back, everybody, to the Liberty Garden Midseason Showdown Day 2. We are back for Round 3. This is going to be a matchup between Patrick Donegan and Christina Bacino. I'm joined by Brendan Lewis this time, a different face than I was last round.
Yes, I am a different face.
A different face. A little bit obvious. I don't know why I said that, but anyways.
Same person, just a different face. So yeah, we've got a good pull for this round. I think we've got two players that are local to this region, which is bound to happen at some point,
yeah.
obviously. If it hasn't happened,
having a lot of those. It already happened last round, yeah.
Yeah, so we got to feature some of the invaders yesterday, and of course today. It looks like we're pretty heavy on the locals, so we've got another one here, which is between Christina and Patrick, as you said. Both players with a lot of local achievements and also, regional success. I think Patrick's made a name for himself by being kind of like the world traveler who racks up the play points and gets to see a lot of places and go to events all over the world, which is a really cool opportunity that he taps into. Multiple world qualifications between the two of them, so a good match here in round 3.
Yeah, Patrick, like you said, traveling a lot for these events, getting top cuts even in international regionals. Meanwhile, Christina, on the other hand, lots of local accomplishments. So yeah, just a real good showcase of local talent in this round 3 here. We're going to be getting, like you said, we're getting a lot of these local matches here with a lot of high caliber VGC in this Northeast region between these two players.
Yeah, definitely. And you and I peeked at the Pokemon that they're running here. It looks like we've got a lot of standard stuff here. Players obviously taking the opportunity to tap into teams that have already been successful in this format. If they weren't able to come up with something they built themselves that they liked, if they're crunched on time or for whatever reason. And Christina has tapped into the most recent regional winning team, which is the team that was piloted by Aaron Trailer and created by Wolf Glick, our own Justin Carris.
Yeah.
And
he likes to make
Trailer.
it known that he also worked on this team. He likes to make it was like, this is my team also. I also had a hand in making
this. And he'll tell you he beat Aaron at the tournament.
Right, of course. It's like, yeah, I beat the regional champion, so this is my team.
We got you, Justin.
We got you. We got the representation. But going into team preview, like you said, Christina be rocking that Charizard, presumably Gigantamax Charizard, Whimsicott, Duraludon, Togekiss, Jellicent, and Conkeldurr. Meanwhile, on Patrick's side, we have Arcanine, Duraludon, Togekiss, Grimmsnarl, Dragapult, and Conkeldurr.
Yeah, so a lot of similarities between the two teams. There's, 3 Mons that are a direct mirror, and then, you can make some direct crossovers between the last 3 slots. There's a Prankster on each side. A lot of offense provided by both Dragapult and Charizard, so there's a little bit of crossover there. And, of course, 2 fire types, with Arcanine being the selection for Patrick, where he goes with a more supportive option in Arcanine as opposed to Charizard, which is a little bit more offensively oriented. But, I think Togekiss, obviously a very influential Pokemon, and those Duraludon on both sides are both Pokemon that I think we're likely to see here.
Yeah, Duraludon definitely being a very solid choice in this format, mainly for the reason of Togekiss's prevalence, being able to hit it for not only super effective damage, but also being able to bypass its redirection shenanigans with the Stalwart ability. But I believe these players are running 2 different variants of the Duraludon here. I think Patrick's approach here is going to be a more slow and defensive-oriented matchup. However, he does have, I believe, the option Thunder Wave on Grimmsnarl. Meanwhile, Christina does have the option for Whimsicott, which is going to be straight offense Tailwind mode. So, well, it'll be interesting to see how these two teams sort of match up against one another and their differing sort of styles, but similar Pokemon, but obviously very different approaches to those Pokemon, as we're going to see the Togekiss and Charizard lead on Christina's side. Meanwhile, Patrick's going to lead the Dragapult and Grimmsnarl.
And Christina immediately tapping into one of those go-to leads that we saw Aaron default to multiple times at the Dallas Regional Championship to obviously great success. And then a lead from Patrick that does, threaten quite a bit of offense and a lot of versatility with what Grimmsnarl can do. If he wants to apply some speed control, go for a fake out into Togekiss. If he's carrying fake tears, he could immediately threaten a big knockout with the fake tears plus something like, a max Phantasm from Dragapult. Assuming it's special, I kind of am assuming that, with the Grimmsnarl option that we're going to see a special Dragapult here.
Yeah, Patrick, being able to just keep firing off a ton of offensive pressure right off the bat. But Christina, I think, potentially has the edge in this matchup because of Togekiss's positive tight matchup here. But we're just going to see go ahead the first one, turn 1 Dynamax here from, I believe, Patrick's side. This is looking to be the Dragapult, so potentially tapping into that option where Fake Tears comes into play and a special attacking Dragapult. Definitely a combination that would be able to most likely secure a knockout onto either of these two Pokemon. It'll be interesting to see what Christina decides to do this turn and whether or not she decides to go for Follow Me to protect her Charizard, which I presume is going to be the Dynamax target here, or yeah, so this is going to be the Gigantamax Charizard coming out this turn. So Christina potentially looking up to get that G-Max Wildfire and just start getting that damage ticking down every single turn. It'll be interesting to see if Togekiss also decides to go on the offensive here, or if it just decides to support Charizard by going for the Follow Me, or it may not get a chance to move at all, as Grimmsnarl going to go for the Fake Out here, as Max Wormwind comes out from Dragapult going into the Charizard, going to do about half. That is a lot of damage going into that Charizard there.
Yeah, it's a decent amount of damage, and I just wanted to say that real quick, I love the aesthetic and the fastball with the shiny Charizard. Really
yeah, that is a
really nice choice.
Very nice combination
But
there.
an Airstream from Charizard is going to be the last move here, so that will make Christina's side of the field temporarily faster, although of course Grimmsnarl does have the option to just go for a Thunder Wave and kind of negate that Airstream boost there. But both players can tend to just kind of trade max moves, and I think with the max move trade exclusively, if we take turn 1 in a nutshell, that that was probably a positive trade for Christina to get that Airstream off, whereas she's only taking attack drops onto that Charizard with the Max Wormwind. So I think that's positive for her overall.
Yeah, Grimmsnarl this turn going for the Fake Tears.
No Follow Me.
Yeah, no Follow Me coming out from Togekiss, but this Fake Tear is going to go into the Togekiss. Potentially Patrick going to target into that Pokemon once Dragapult gets the chance to move. But with that Max Airstream, yeah, that Max Airstream going to make Charizard move before the Dragapult, going to be able to fire that Airstream up into the Grimmsnarl, which is going to pick up the knockout and get yet another speed boost for Charizard and Togekiss. Togekiss going for the Dazzling Gleam, which is now single target, doing a ton of damage to Dragapult, at least comparatively for Dynamax standards, as Max Phantasm comes out into the Togekiss with that Fake Tears drop, presumably helping Dragapult secure the KO there.
Yeah, and it seems like both players are making pretty neutral trades at this point. There's damage trades going back and forth. Both players sacrificed their supportive Pokemon there, which is usually something that you kind of expect to do when you're throwing something out there for, a Fake Tears, potentially a Follow Me in the case of Togekiss, where you're supporting those Dynamax Pokemon. You're not becoming the centerpiece of the player's strategy at this point. So damage trades on both sides, Pokemon trades on both sides, and it seems like, again, the only kind of position advantage that was gained on either side was those Airstream boosts on Christina's Charizard.
Yeah, Christina now bringing in her Whimsicott, and honestly, I really like her decision to try to target down that Grimmsnarl, because now she's sort of eliminated Patrick's primary option for speed control, because now Togekiss on his side, since he's Dynamax the Dragapult, not able to Dynamax itself, so not potentially able to go for those max Airstreams to boost Patrick's own speed. So now Charizard in a prime position just to get the first hit off, and now
feels a lot like Fake Tears Wildfire.
Yeah, Fake Tears Wildfire also a very present option here for Christina's side.
Yeah, definitely. I think she really wants to make sure that the Wildfire is down on this last turn of Gigantamax here, because I think you really need to get at least one of those off, especially when she's not trading Airstream. So there's not a reason, if it was a Dynamax Togekiss, that you'd really need to be Airstreaming every turn to make sure that you're even in speed. But I think there's no reason not to just kind of Wildfire here. And the Max Guard is an interesting play.
Yeah, Dragapult recognizing that it is under threat here since it is now slower than the Charizard.
Yeah.
But the Fake Tear is coming out from Christina's side, going into the Togekiss, actually. And Togekiss now going to be taking this G-Max Wildfire. No chance of surviving that after the Fake Tears boost, so drop, I should say, as Christina perfectly reading into that Protect on Patrick's side. And now Dragapult taking the G-Max Wildfire damage, but very fantastic play from Christina's end, predicting that Max Guard.
Yeah, a really good play, and kind of a curious play from Patrick's side, because he could have basically accomplished the same thing that happened that turn by just clicking Follow Me, and then not having to Max Guard, and could have at least gotten some damage down on her side, but instead he overextends a little bit. I'm not sure, what he was going there for Togekiss, but it wouldn't have been able to take a knockout, I don't think. He would have been, just trading the Sash onto Whimsicott, potentially, so I think that he basically he took what happened that turn and then opted out of getting anything out of it, basically. Like a Follow Me with attack from Dragapult is what happened anyway, but instead he's getting damage down.
Yeah, I think Christina has maneuvered herself into a fantastic position here because now
this feels
Charizard,
really good.
yeah, Charizard just faster than everything on the field, and now that fake Tears pressure for either of these two Pokemon going to be most likely resulting in a knockout here. Charizard taking full advantage of its Dynamax turns, getting those speed boosts, and now getting that G-Max Wildfire chip damage every single turn. And even though Duraludon and these two Dragon types traditionally would do well against the Charizard with that speed boost and combined with that fake Tears pressure, not going to stand a chance, and Patrick recognizes that going for the forfeit.
Right, yep. I think it was just kind of a matter of time at that point with fake Tears still active. Patrick not being able to take a knockout the previous turn was really what ended the game for him after the players had been kind of content to just sort of trade for the rest of the match. That one turn really just turned the whole game on its head there, and Christina was able to take advantage by pulling the knockout onto Togekiss without Patrick trading for the knockout that was there. So really well played. I think the Charizard turns were managed really well, and I think the idea behind Dynamaxing the Dragon Bolt there is fine in theory. You have to make sure that you're making trades consistently if you're matching Dynamax over all 3 turns.
Yeah, I definitely think, you know, I think just being able to shut down that Charizard is going to be huge in this next game for Patrick. He definitely has the options to do so. We didn't really get to see a whole lot of Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl, you know, I guess being a source of speed control on this team with access to Thunder Wave, and I think having that option for Thunder Wave would have done a really good job for Patrick in slowing down Christina's Charizard setup there. But since Grimmsnarl was disposed of super early, Charizard could just keep going for Max Airstream, set itself up to be the fastest Pokemon in the field, and then capitalizing that last turn of Dynamax with the G-Max Wildfire. And with that, combined with Whimsicott's fake Tears pressure, that can kind of just tear through the entirety of Patrick's team.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's pretty much why we saw him clicking the forfeit, because that's exactly what was going to happen in the late game there. But I totally agree with you on Grimmsnarl. You know, that's a Pokemon that you expect to only have around for 2, 3, 4 turns, and it really comes down to how much you can make out of those turns before it gets knocked out. And Patrick traded, you know, a fake out onto Togekiss. He wasn't really able to punish with that fake out very much, other than for a little bit of I think 50% onto Charizard. So a decent amount of damage, but you know, he wasn't able to follow up with anything. And then Grimmsnarl was knocked out after a fake Tears the next turn, which, you know, is kind of a fine play in a nutshell, but I think he probably would have gotten some more mileage out of going for something like a Thunder Wave instead of just taking the fake Tears.
Yeah, because it seemed like Christina didn't really mind Togekiss being knocked out there. It seemed like her game plan was sort of directed by Togekiss just being there to help support Charizard, and then once it got knocked out, great. Charizard's Gigantamax, its setup basically has already been accomplished with those 2 Max Airstreams, and now that since it became the fastest Pokemon on the field, that means a perfect time for Whimsicott to come in and act as the offensive support for Charizard. But going into Game 2, we're going to see the same exact leads from Christina's side that worked so well in the first game. Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
So we got Charizard coming in with Togekiss as its partner. Meanwhile, Patrick switching things up with the Arcanine and the Duraludon. Intimidate coming out into both of these special attackers, so not going to be a huge factor in this turn 1. But yeah, Patrick switching it up rather significantly.
I think that you know, Snarl Arcanine is actually a really good Pokemon against Aaron's team. Or against Christina's team, rather, as it's able, it clearly has, I believe, 5 out of 6 special attackers there, with Kinkeldr being the one physical attacker. So getting down a Snarl or 2 can really turn the tables very quickly, and it makes the team, you know, somewhat more reliant on that passive damage from Wildfire instead of just the sheer power of the max moves that are coming out.
Yep, as we saw in that first game, Gigantamax Charizard coming out on turn 1 here, going to be likely going for a similar game plan, just trying to set itself up for that late game here. We'll probably have to take a few Snarls here from Arcanine, but on Patrick's side, we actually see the Dynamax coming out here from the Duraludon. So Patrick just going to counteract the Dynamax on Christina's side with his own Dynamax, also increasing Duraludon's bulk, so it's probably able to take those special attacks a lot better than it normally would. So Duraludon also a very potent attacker with those such a great move pool. But we're actually going to see Helping Hand come out here from Togekiss, and G-Max Wildfire coming out on turn 1 into that Duraludon. Going to be doing a ton of damage, but just barely misses out on the knockout.
And I think
there.
Wildfire might get it, actually.
Yeah, especially with that Bulldoze
now.
Is
he going to knock it out?
Yeah, I mean,
no.
Maybe, yeah. If that's not going to knock it out, then the Wildfire definitely would have, but Arcanine's proving that it's actually strong enough to take down that Duraludon with this weak Bulldoze there.
Yeah, so that looked like it was going to be a Bulldoze into weakness policy. That, you know, there's no other reason to make that play, given that both Pokemon on Christina's side of the field were a flying type, so he's not hitting anything else. So going for the weakness policy activation, but is undone by a Helping Hand Wildfire there. And that's going to be a really tough one to come back from. He might have been able to get himself into a pretty good position by using like a +2 Thunderbolt into that Charizard slot. That would have been potentially pretty close to a knockout, depending on, you know, how he's trained. But Patrick is actually just going to go ahead and lock that forfeit right in. That is a worst case scenario, turn 1 there.
Yeah.
I think I was watching a video that came up across my feed on Twitter recently of something that happened where they were going for like a beat up play, and then the beat up did like 8 damage and took the knockout after.
Just like, but yeah,
that's tough to see. You hate to see that.
Yeah, the problem is with those self-activating strategies like that is that
you're still doing damage.
You still have to damage your own Pokemon, and you do so at your own risk.
Right.
But that play, I mean, would have worked out. Would have had the world of benefit if it hadn't worked out. Yeah. But the problem is with Duraludon, I sort of like, you notice that it's a slower Pokemon in that matchup against Charizard, right? So if it's a team that's running similarly to Aaron's, you potentially have to watch out for that Helping Hand option. As like I said, Duraludon's special defense not the greatest.
Right. Even with all that HP.
Yeah, even with all that HP, Duraludon's still pitiful special defense, and that is a powerful G-Max Wildfire coming off of the Blast Burn. So a Helping Hand able to not quite pick up the KO, but that Bulldoze able to do that, just that extra chip damage to make that strategy just completely fall apart.
Right, and well played by Christina. Of course, it always feels good to take. Maybe this is a personal thing, but I always feel good about playing other people's teams because I'm like, they know what they're talking about. They built the team. I don't have to worry about my own team building pitfalls as well as my own playstyle pitfalls. So it feels nice to take a team that has you know, a history, a track record of success, and go in and execute the game plan with it, and she did that, you know, very well in this.
Yeah, she executed the game plan of the team, but also just made like really nice plays, and just I feel like not only she was familiar, yeah, very safe, but just like plays that capitalized off of Patrick just making mistakes, and I think Christina was just able to capitalize and keep capitalizing on her turns and just making full advantage and optimal plays, and I think that just really put her ahead, and Patrick just like, yeah, I can't really keep up with this. Like, she like is not only playing the team super well, but he's also playing him super well, just reading directly into his just reading him just seems like every turn.
Yeah, yep, she played very well, and Justin looks pretty happy about that over there in the corner. So we're going to take a short break for just a couple seconds, and we'll come right back with the interview over in the lounge with our winner, Christina. So stay tuned.
And welcome back to our Liberty Garden stream. My name is Justin Carris. I am joined by one of our favorite locals, Christina Bacino, who actually just played an incredible set and pretty dominating fashion using the recent regional champion team, a team that I'm very much a fan of. I had a pleasure making that stuff. So, Christina, tell us a little bit about that game. What do you like about the team, and how do you feel it plays?
Well, what I like about the team is that Charizard, the best Pokemon, well, it's one of my favorite because the Airstream, it gets the speed boost, and the other thing is the Duralon. Like, I like, if I don't have to use Charizard, I can use Duralon to boost up his defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a lot of flexibility. I've really enjoyed using it. It's one of my favorite teams that I've ever used.
Yeah.
In game 2, I kind of think you like showed off exactly what the strongest point of it is that you can completely just roll people in like almost 2 or 3 turns.
I was a little nervous because I don't know if Patrick is running like fly on the Dragon Pole. He could be running that, and that'd be far behind the speed, but it wasn't. I think it was special because you have big tier on Grimmsnarl. So that.
Yeah, one of the problems is you're kind of always worried because it's a very offensive team. You have to be wary of like if they can control the speed and knock you out first, and then you lose like one of your big pieces.
That's not the problem, but like the speed, you have to take advantage of the speed.
Yeah, the Togekiss inclusion was actually the big reason why we had that. So if the opponent was like just had a little bit more offense than us, we could redirect it.
I was a little nervous in case you had Grimmsnarl had Thunder Wave, so I was like. I wasn't sure. I like Fake Out. Like I'm expecting more like Fake Out as the common. That's why I'm going for. If I expect, I want to see Fake Out first. So in next game or whatever, I will use Helping Hand so they can't Fake Out the Togekiss because Helping Hand same feature like +2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
or plus 1.
Well, +1. We're close enough. So I figure. If I see Fake Out, then next game I will adjust to it.
Yeah, and I think you played that really well. Obviously, a Thunder Wave on Grimmsnarl is a little bit frustrating. Grimmsnarl in general is one of those Pokemon that's difficult to play against.
Right.
And one of the team not really utilizing Togekiss in a max form means that you can't Starfall to protect against something like a Thunder Wave. But even still, sometimes what you could do is you could just go for the Tailwind anyway. And if they're Thunder Waving, then you're still kind of might have the speed advantage.
But still, I don't like being slow and lose a turn just because the Pokemon can't move.
Yeah,
I know.
I know. Thunder Wave is so annoying.
You lose momentum. Like you have to keep going.
Especially with Dynamax too. Like if your Dynamax Pokemon gets Thunder Wave parried for like 1 turn.
Yeah, you waste so much.
One of the best things though about being from the Jersey region is we're kind of used to getting Thunder Wave parried because we've played against Paul Chua so much. So
no,
it's a specialty.
I beat Paul Chua in the Cypher's Midseason Showdown.
Nice.
But we kept quitting each other.
Yeah, I know. Were you guys using Togekiss or are you using the same team still?
Using the same. I used a different team yesterday.
Okay.
So I went back to the Charizard team and.
Charizard's in a great speed tier, so it's like it does amazing things. Like it just outspeeds Arcanine, Excadrill, stuff like that.
Yeah, I just don't like playing the bug Duranton or whatever.
Durant, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like playing that.
Yeah, it's actually one of the worst matchups for the team. So. That's why we actually included the Togekiss with the Jellicent mode. So unless they lead something like a Durant and a Chandelure, what you can do is you can follow me and then go for the Trick Room, and then you actually will max your Jellicent. And with Conkeldurr, you can get a max Phantasm and start compiling the defense drops. So that's one of those game plans. But I don't want to get too much into coaching territory here. You're doing great on your own. You use the team in fantastic fashion. I'm excited. I think you're gonna carry it doing well. You play it honestly maybe a little bit better than I do. So.
In game 2, I was surprised that Patrick bulldozed his own, and then Donegan got knocked out.
Yeah, I think it was weakness policy.
I was trying not to laugh.
No, yeah, you can't. I know. It's tough though.
It happened.
Look, honestly, I'm all for laughing at Patrick. I love him so much, but.
He's a good player, though.
Oh, Patrick is an excellent player. I think I can empathize with him a lot. He cares a lot about his performances, and he loves the game. You know what I mean?
Who doesn't?
I know. Honestly, like this year has really made me fall in love with Pokemon. Like VGC 20 is one of my favorite formats.
Really?
Yeah, I actually think it's because I'm a big Dynamax fan. So.
I just don't like Dynamax, just
really?
because.
I understand why.
I feel like if you made a mistake, you can't. Like it's hard to recover. At least in Ultra, you can recover a little bit.
Yeah.
To give you a chance.
I feel like it forces you to play better, though.
Yeah, it's
Because
true.
you have to make like almost a consistently good decision every turn.
But I feel like a lot of the formats, like 50-50, like are they going to go for a bake out or they're going to go for a
gotcha.
tailwind or big tier?
Yeah, well, one cool thing too is that you can kind of isolate if you understand those 50-50s. One of the things that better players do is
Right.
you're eliminating their options in those 50-50s. So you're
Right.
kind of turning your 50-50s into like three like 75%ers. So
Right.
like if you're playing really well with your flowcharts and stuff, and you're just making sure you're optimizing your Dynamax turns,
Right.
you can turn those like more complex turns
Right.
into a lot you can capitalize on them a lot heavier.
Right.
So, but anyway, thank you for coming through, and I'll probably see you later. I'm sure you're going to end up doing well. So
We'll see.
we'll be back with our analyst desk next, and thank you for tuning to the stream. This is Christina Bacino. Expect to see great things from her in the future.